Hello, it's Mike Hanna. I'm back from Spain and stuck inside because I can't get out because we've got the UK weather now. So it's I did take you out for a few trips. I went to Richmond Park with the deers, but it started raining, and I was also down on the coast in the Southend. But again, it started raining, so I've had to put off until I can get inside. And so I'm going to share the key reasons why many people feel lost, empty and fulfilled. So if you can't find your soul purpose, here's what you can do about it. If you're watching live now or even on a rebroadcast, I'll be looking at all the comments and questions, so feel free to participate and add comments, or if you just feel a love, send it back and or let me know where you're watching from. So I'd love to hear from you. In earlier Facebook Lives, we discussed the impossibility mindset. It was probably just before I went to Spain, and how that can hold us back. So from being the best versions of ourselves. So we looked at different types of fear, and I think there was probably between 130, 150 people in the survey had said fear was a major factor that was seriously impacting spiritual growth, or their spiritual growth and resourcefulness. So let me ask you, how much do you think fear is holding you back? So most people aren't even conscious that they have settled into their comfort zone, perhaps even almost given up on life, lying to themselves, even creating the illusion that life is meant to be hard. People sometimes tell me they are frustrated or even annoyed that they allow fear to hold them back because it's irrational. However, the panic attacks, upset stomachs, feeling sick or headaches, they're real. So how do we deal with this? When it's left untreated, these kind of symptoms can develop into chronic health conditions. And you may have seen some of my videos that I've posted earlier. I think they're in the video section, and how long-term great stress can really cause all sorts of disease within the body, like physical disease. So, and that, things like high blood pressure, diabetes, and even cancer or heart disease. So it's it's a big thing to factor into your life. And this is often how many people end up on a spiritual path, because they've allowed it to build up, and they've become very ill, perhaps close to death. Some people have had trauma, or some people just decide, and you can decide too. So in my case, I kind of needed all three because I was fairly stubborn. I probably started searching consciously for my purpose. It was probably about 15 years ago, as my daughters were getting ready to leave the house, the family home, and it occurred to me that I probably needed a new meaning in my life. They had been my purpose for all their life. So this took me. I went on travels, took me on a number of courses, including a Tony Robbins Date with Destiny, where we, for a whole week, the 15, 18-hour days, just working on our purpose. And in fact, I went on to complete the mastery and leadership programs with Tony Robbins, and I knew, even then, I knew coaching was my passion, but the purpose, and I did create a purpose, but the purpose was it was not real for me. It was an exercise or a project that I'd done, and after a while I got lost again. Ended up back in the Middle East because I self-sabotaged my career for the third time in my life. I had this issue that I just wasn't good enough. At one time I was operations head with 650 staff and multi-million-pound budgets. Another time I was a global IT director, and another time a business coach, going into pretty much any type of business and helping them make more money and free up time. And to me it was all mechanical, it was all matter of fact, and I just did it. But there were times where I still felt I wasn't good enough. It's madness. it's really incredible how the mind works sometimes and what it tells us. So yeah, I ended up back on the aircraft in Saudi Arabia, from where I felt safe. You know, it was because of initiated from the global recession in 2000, 2008, 2009. I was stepping from one job to the other and ended up back there because I didn't feel good enough. There's you know, each one of those careers I felt uncomfortable, and I was in the wrong job. You know, there was you know, and I just self-sabotaged it. I thought, no, this isn't for me, and I walked away. You know, looking for something else. So back in Saudi, you know, I'd been out there in the Gulf War, the first Gulf War. For some reason, it felt safe to me. And the mind is a minefield. But I think this time I discovered, you know, I was no longer that person either. You know, I hated my job, which I know many of you can relate to. You know, but I was stuck in a fear-based scarcity mentality, believing I had to stay in this job because I couldn't afford to leave. You know, but that was absolute rubbish. You know. And you know, I hear people telling me that, you know, the same thing all the time. You know, it's just what we tell ourselves because we get stuck in a rut, and we're not prepared to do whatever it takes to make the change. So, you know, why don't you tell me how you feel about your job? And many of you have already, but if you'd like to write in the comments, let's say even if you're watching live now, or whether you're, you know, this is when you watch it on when I rebroadcast later. Tell me about your job. You know, do you love it? Do you hate it? Do you want to move on? It all helps. You know, it helps me understand you better. You know, it just gives us a thumbs up or thumbs down if you don't really want to get too engaged yet. But I think, you know, for my story, you know, it needed another wake-up call. I kind of had quite a few in my lifetime, but I just didn't listen very well. And in December 2012, I had a rather spectacular car crash where I flipped and rolled my car, and I was still in the desert. So how long I was unconscious was unknown. It was probably for up to an hour. And when I came to, I was outside my car. It was upside down, smashed up, and I looked at it and thought, oh, that doesn't look very good. Confused, in shock. You know, but you know, I had survived, and I managed to get some. They wanted me to go off. I sat in the ambulance a bit, and you know, dabbed me up. I didn't know at the time, but I had a broken rib and some broken bones in my hand, and some blood coming out of my ear, and a few scratches and stuff. But I felt okay, and it was my first granddaughter's first Christmas, and all I wanted to do, I was on the way to the airport. I just wanted to get home, so I managed to get some Egyptians to take me to the airport, and I got home, and I had my first Christmas with my first granddaughter. So the story goes on a bit because when I did get home, I had to go to hospital, and I was in there A&E for quite some time, and blood pressure was like 196 over 140. It was probably not the most sensible thing to do, but I did it. But for this story, you know, if we fast forward a few weeks, I did have my Christmas, but I was diagnosed with post-concussion syndrome and PTSD. And within a few months, everything in my life changed. You know, I thought I was going back to, you know, I got the police to take my car back to Dhahran, where I came from, which was nearly 400 kilometres away, and I thought I'd be back there within a few days. But as it turns out, I never went back. They wouldn't allow me back. I was medically retired. So yeah, I lost my job. I lost my marriage because my wife couldn't understand what I was going through. And after 32 years of marriage, it was the end of that really. And she couldn't deal with my view of the world. I was going through a spiritual awakening and from very difficult times. So I became lost. I became homeless and sick. The medical profession labelled me with high blood pressure, diabetes, bipolar, depression, reflux, and told me I'd be on medication for the rest of my life. Then came alcoholism, which pretty much almost finished me off a few more times. And I think it was about the third time after I was hospitalised, close to death. For some reason, that was kind of enough, and I was able to get out my own way. and allowed a spiritual awakening that was happening to me and that I was going through at the time, just to guide me. And I rebuilt my well-being. It took me on a journey. Now I'm 3 years sober, off all the medication. What the sickness specialist told me I'd be on for the rest of my life. It took me on a journey, and I share that in some of my videos. Started at the Deepak show, where I read How to Know God, and that kind of took me on to the Seduction of Spirit at the Deepak Chopra Centre just outside San Diego, and then off to India, to Kerala, to study Ayurveda and perfect health and yoga, and then the story goes on. But and this is what I'm here for. Is this is how did I do it? Well, this is what I'm saying. I covered and certified in a whole bunch of modalities, and it's these holistic teachings that have taught me how to heal myself and heal others. So I do have considerable personal experience, and also the yogic studies that over these almost 5 years now, I've developed my own programs to take my clients from whatever stage they or you are at, to unlocking your purpose and living life with a whole new passion. So and there's been a whole number of you within the group sharing how you've been struggling to find your true purpose. Concerned that you may never find the love, the joy and the passion that you desire. And that's kind of the journey that I had been on, even before the car crash. But I guess I wasn't really in tune. I wasn't aligned with my energy. I didn't know how to do that, and that's became afterwards, after the spiritual awakening, if you like. So many of you said that you feel some deep anxiety, depression, sadness, confusion, and for much of the time. And I guess you kind of get to understand that you can believe me when I say I know it's not a good place. The question is, how long can you sustain this situation? And do you think you are finally ready to do whatever it takes to transcend into a life of passion, ready to unlock your soul purpose that's been buried deep inside you, like it was inside me? Many members have shared it shows up in all sorts of ways. Sometimes it shows up as failed relationships, addictions, low self-love or self-esteem. Yeah, okay, I had all of that, and but sometimes I was quite lucky, I guess, and low was pretty low, and rock bottom. I went through many rock bottoms. People used to say, well, when you reach rock bottom, you'll bounce back, but some people never do. And if you ever have the misfortune to experience the aftermath of someone close committing suicide, the intensity of the issue begins, really to sink in. It's over 20 years now since I lost my younger brother. He was unable to ask for help. Sometimes you can't see a way out. Sometimes it's in our DNA, and it's passed down. Certain beliefs, behaviours. I also go into this in my courses about the makeup of the individual. Some of it is like DNA, and we can influence that DNA, the cellular makeup, so the genes, if you like. So again, I've covered this with some of you at some points before. So asking for help is what I needed to do. I went when I was in a tough place, and he didn't, my brother wasn't able to do that, so sadly we lost him. And I guess, how bad does it have to get for you? Please don't wait as long as my brother had, or even I did. There's no need. But maybe he has the answers now, and I think I have the answers, but I didn't have to go to the extremities that he did. So. And somehow I'm still here against all the odds, and for about 15 years now I've been investing in myself because I feel I owe it to me, and not only me but all those that I love and love dearly. I've got my daughters, granddaughters, grandson, and I want to be in their life. It's important to me, and of course all my clients and the people that I serve. So at some point, I think we all decide enough is enough. The question is, have you? So for me, investing in courses, retreats and mentors is the only way I can keep expanding my spiritual growth. There is so much space for us to grow into, and I just feel so blessed that I am on this journey. And I share my journey with those that want to raise global consciousness and make a difference, changing lives in a way that also makes a difference in their own way. So that ripple effect of love and humanity just keeps on flowing. And I've said to you before, you are the creator of your own reality. You know, I'm not here to tell you what your purpose is. I'm here to take you on a journey into yourself, so that you can unlock your soul purpose, like I did, for me. And that's exactly what my 8-week program is all about: the 7 steps to a fulfilled life with purpose. It takes people that are ready and on a journey into themselves, into yourself, to unlock your soul purpose. So I guess there's the question: do you actually believe you came into existence, to live your soul purpose, or was it just to waste your life and watch TV and get drunk and and many people tell me that's all they want to do, and that's okay. It's I think when I was up in the mountains, we talked about a level of intensity and how you can grow, and this is not for everyone. It's whatever intensity or level that you wish to take your life, and if you truly looking to improve or increase or I think expand your consciousness and make a difference and live your purpose, then this is why I'm here, and what the group's for, and what my programs are for. So I know many of you are trapped in a life you didn't build, and you don't even want, like I was, but you keep on living it like I did. It's crazy, but at some point you've got to ask, how long can you sustain this? And for me, I needed help, I guess, from some source and some guidance. And so, I mean, if you are sitting on the fence now, if I said to you, write in the comments below, I'm not ready to take this responsibility because I'm not worth it. Write that in the comments now. If that's how you feel about yourself, say that you're not worth it. Just write them in the comments and let me feel. Let me hear. Tell everyone in the group that you're not worth it. You're not worthy of taking yourself to a higher level, to expanding your self-worth. Or if you don't feel like doing that, we can turn that around and we can write in the comments, I am worth it, and you shout it out as loud as you like. I am worth it, and I will create my own destiny. So just take a moment to consider how you feel right now. Are you worth it or not? And just write it in the comments. So again, if it's live, so I've had some. Thank you for Kathy. Congratulations on my sobriety, and got a few comments from Kathy and Sonia, and there's a few others. So my phones are sideways, so it's hard to read it. So thanks for the comments. But take a few moments for yourself for now, and just feel how you feel about this for yourself. Are you living at the level that you feel you should be living? Are you living your purpose? Is each and every day, a life of happiness and fulfillment because you're living your purpose? Or are you stuck in a job that you don't want to be doing, like I was? Or worse still, when you're really low. And I guess if we talked about it in the lower levels of intensity, if you're at level 2 or 3, then chances are you're not ready for the program. You have to deal with that, and you might need help. I had counselling. I did get help. I needed that. I was still on a spiritual journey as well. I did both at the same time. I guess that's who I am. I like to do. And that's probably where the bipolar came from, because I was having an awesome time in my spiritual awakening, and also a difficult time getting my material life together. So, but that's probably helped me become the person I am. So it's worked out in the end for me. So I guess if you are ready to be the creator of your destiny, ready to take responsibility for your life, then I guess you're ready to find your purpose that really is locked away inside of you. So if that's the case, then you can private message me to request a discovery call, and that's these calls are, I have a scheduling service where we'll schedule an hour on video, and it's really to, you know, to discover if I'm the right person to be able to help you. What sort of issues you're going through. I can tell you about my programs, or I can perhaps point you in the right direction. So they're free, no obligation calls. If you want to do that, then do it. And I set aside a certain amount of time each week. So there are. If you contact me, I'll send you the link so you can look at the calendar and find a slot, and we'll have a chat. So there's no obligation. If it works for you, it works for you. But that's only if you're ready, you know, to really take your life to a new level, I guess. And I guess you can do it anyway. So we'll have a chat, you know. But the idea is that I'm here to help those that are ready to move on to the next level. This is what I love to do. That's my mission in life. This is my purpose. You know, not only to take care of myself, but to share that out with those that are ready to. So leave your comments, and I'll get back to them. And thank you very much for joining me today. As I said, I'm Mike Hanna, and I'm looking forward to connecting with you at a deeper level. So for now, peace and blessings. Namaste. Take care.